Sandra, good to meet you again. For the benefit of people who don't know you and what you do for a living, what do you do?
Well, I manage a gallery. I run a gallery. I'm the director of the gallery, Sandra Higgins Art, here in Shire's Yard. And I have monthly exhibitions of local artists and international artists, talks, events, and really trying to bring a little bit of, not quite, but somewhat cutting edge to Bath.
Well, I wanted to say to you, Bath isn't short of galleries. So what's so special about yours? What is that extra little something that you bring?
Well, I hope it is special. I mean, I have a background of working internationally. And for instance, this exhibition, the Wilderness Collective, is a group of artists, 20 artists, where the whole collective is around 40 artists. And they're throughout the country, and in fact one is based in Paris, and they're looking at nature in all its forms. So I like to bring exhibitions that have a theme and have a purpose, have a content. I did one exhibition with the pop artists of the 60s, with Donald Smith, Patrick Hughes, Steve Thomas, who was one of the creators of Biba. So I don't really have a gallery where I take a stable of artists and promote them in a way that many galleries do. I in fact, like the diversity of each of the shows, bringing something new to the gallery.
Now, you're buried in the middle of Shire's Yard, and I think people who are looking for somewhere to eat, somewhere, say, like Coates or Root, know where they're going. But is it difficult actually getting people in from Milson Street? I've actually filmed the journey from Milson Street to your gallery, and it takes about 1 minute to walk through, because there are lots of other businesses and traders here. Just 1 minute to find your gallery, but it's getting them in, isn't it?
Well, yes, I have to agree. Maybe that it takes a while to be known, and I'm tucked into the middle of Shire's Yard, which is kind of a convoluted complex. Many people are asking me where Coat is, or where this is, or where that is, you know.
It almost needs a map out
Yes.
there in Milson Street, doesn't
Yes,
it?
well, that would be great, actually.
Showing you the way through and where everybody
Yes, a map
is.
with all the units and where things are would be absolutely terrific. Because yes, it is, you know, somewhat disappointing when they say to me they had a hard time finding me. I actually put a map on the Instagram yesterday, as you saw, how you can find me in Shire's Yard.
I think that's a great idea. Now, look, you've got an international career as far as art is concerned. How did you come to end up here in Bath?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I mean, I moved to the UK in the 1980s. I was a research fellow with Dartington Institute, and then I had a gallery in Mayfair. Fast forward, and I decided that I lived in Colombia for a couple of years. I speak Spanish, and I curated exhibitions in Colombia. And so I left for Colombia, came back, did a show at Bermondsey Project Space, actually, about Colombian art during the peace treaty time. Anyway, it's kind of a tangent. And I wanted to go to a place that was not quite as, I mean, I was in Chelsea, and I wanted to go to a place that still had the buzz, I suppose you would call it, but was more serene. Is that what I want to say? That's not the word I want to say. I'm never serene,
Well,
so that's not a word I want to use.
There's no way I see you as a serene person.
That's not a word I should be using. No, you can edit that.
Do you like the place?
Do I like what?
Bath. Do you like it?
I love Bath. You see, in my previous life in the USA, I was one of the founding members of the Chicago Architecture Foundation. I mean, was a practicing artist. I was a printmaker. I did art history at the University of Chicago, so that's kind of my home. And I got very involved. I would have loved to have been an architect, but I couldn't do the maths. And this is before you could do digital. And when he said isometric projection, I turned green, you know. I said, but I can illustrate it. He said, no, you have to do the maths. Anyway, so I used to give architectural tours, and I saw Bath, and I thought, well, this is absolutely wonderful. I want to go someplace that is beautiful. But the thing about Bath is that it can change as well. It can adapt and introduce contemporary things within Bath. And I suppose that's my raison d'etre.
You robbed me of the next question I was going to put to you, because historically, socially, architecturally, you know, this is a Georgian experience, but you like contemporary art.
Well, but you know, I probably don't have my history exactly correct. Chris Stevens did a nice talk, the director of the Holborn, about what Bath was like in the 70s and maybe early 80s, and especially Corsham, when there were people like Howard Hodgkin, Michael Craig Martin, who was the founder of the YBA, Peter Blake, you know, people like that were here. And Bath was a center of contemporary art, of photography, of music. You know, I mean, there are festivals here now of literature and music, but it seems to me that maybe I feel Bath has kind of overlooked the artistic side that can be developed here, and once again, you know, a resurgence of what it was in the past, because that is, I know it's based because it's a turística town with my Spanish, and I know it's based on bringing the tourists in, but contemporary juxtaposition of work would as well. I mean, so many people visit here at the gallery, you know, international tourists who love the fact that they've found a contemporary art gallery in the middle of Shire Yard. They're thrilled.
I must admit, it is quite something to think about if you're going from somebody like Gainsborough, who was painting here, to Peter Blake, who wasn't that many miles outside the city. What is it about contemporary art that excites you?
I think it's the creativity. I mean, maybe I said earlier, I'm not sure, that when I left my own practice, you know, I lived vicariously through the artists. One of the artists' very nice compliments that I nurture artists. And I like getting close to them. I like understanding their creativity. There's a wonderful book by Antoine Ehrensweig about the story of creativity, The Hidden Order of Art, it's called. And I like the whole idea from nothing. I mean, look at these. There's the inspiration within these creative people to bring forth an image, a story that resonates with all of us. So I find that very exciting, that they are part of the contemporary scene. They reflect what's going on now. And as did all artists, as did Gainsborough, as did any of the artists during their period. So it excites me to be part of what's happening now.
You have done guiding too in the art world, haven't you?
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking you were at the Tate?
Yeah, I was at the Tate for 20 years. I'm a legacy guide now. I was there when they started in 2000 with Ivana Blaswick and Francis Morris, when they had the themed openings. I loved it. It was absolutely terrific. And that, again, was taking visitors on a thematic tour of the different artworks and creating a story for them to understand more fully where the artists were coming from when they created those works.
But this is traditional Tate, not Tate Modern?
Tate Modern.
Oh, it was Tate Modern.
I did both of them. I did Tate Britain too. You had to. But then towards the end, I switched to Tate Modern, because that was really my forte.
You grew up, did you not, in a little town just outside Chicago, the city of Chicago?
I grew up in a town called Riverside, and I think that might be where a lot of my artistic or love of nature and art came from, because it was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, the village. It's called a village in a park. Okay. It was the first type of village. I know that Turnham Green says that it was, but it wasn't.
He was the guy who designed...
He designed Central Park.
Central Park, wow.
And the village was designed so that all the houses were set back a great distance from the road. The roads were recessed so that when you looked out, you only saw lawns. So it was a park, a village along the Des Plaines River. And I was part of the Olmsted Society there, and just really got very involved in, I think I said, maybe I didn't in our other take. When I was in New York, I worked with the Central Park Conservancy. I am an official Central Park Associate Ranger. I have the hat, I'll show you sometime.
Do you miss the States?
I miss Not any longer. We won't get into that.
No.
I'll try
Putting politics to one side.
to avoid that subject. And I miss the every man can kind of attitude. I miss the kind of openness of Americans. They're very friendly. They're very well, and in the arts, of course, philanthropy in the U.S. is huge, absolutely huge. So I do miss the vigor, the excitement sometimes, you know, which is why probably I try to carry that on here, you know, the American abroad.
Do you mind me asking you about your personal life?
No, go ahead.
I don't know whether you were ever married or have children. Did you have time for any of that during your career?
Yes, I don't mind telling you. I suppose, why not? I had a marriage when I was 20 to my high school sweetheart. Yeah, I know. And that didn't last very long. We lived in Telluride, Colorado. I was a ski bunny. So we went out there, and I was a very good downhill skier.
Oh, you have done it all.
And then, fast forward, I went through all these education and whatever, and then New York, and then here. And yes, I was married. I was married to Edward Maggs. He's an antiquarian bookseller. And my son Benjamin is in the firm. He's the 6th generation in the book firm in Bedford Square.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I hope he's keeping an eye on it.
It's his birthday tomorrow. He'll be 39.
Oh, a youngster.
Where does it go, huh?
I hope he's keeping an eye on his mother.
Well, he's keeping an eye on his mother, and he also did a lovely talk at Brilsey about books. He represents the private press, and he also judges artist books. He's I hope, I feel. I mean, I took him around since he was 18 months old. I took him to art fairs in Chicago. I took him to St. Paul de Vence, to the Column d'Or, where he made a scene throwing his utensils on the concrete floor when we were trying to have lunch. He's traveled to Paris, he's gone with me everywhere. So at one point he said to me, when he was about 18, he said, "Mom, I'm more in company with people who are 40 years old than my own friends." And has it done him good instead? Yeah, he's charming, and he's really, really a very, very good bookseller. And so he did a talk at Brilsey on rare books.
That's terrific. You're an art convener there, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm a co-convener with John Law.
Co-convener. And were you involved in the Bath Society of Artists judging?
Yes, I was one of the judges with, I can't remember his name, that's awful. So you cut that out.
Don't worry, I put you on the spot.
Cut that out.
Apologies to whoever it was that you were judging with. But I sometimes see you as a loner, you see, but you're not. You do get involved in other artistic practices in this city.
Well, I try to, yes. And I think we talked a little bit earlier before it sometimes feels a little bit difficult, and I do wonder. My sister used to describe me as a locomotive bearing down on you, and I hope I'm not like that. But I do have a lot of enthusiasm, and I think an American trait. I just say it as it is, very honest, and go for it. Well, I raised money, by the way, when I did that conference called Green Towns and Cities UK USA with Michael Dower at Darlington Institute. And we used to laugh because he would go to America to raise money, and I would go and raise money here. And I raised, £50,000 for the park, the country park that's behind St. Pancras Station.
Oh, wow.
I raised it from the Countryside Commission. And I remember Michael saying to me, "How did you do that?" I said, "I asked." So I think
it's the redhead in you, You may be petite, but...
Well, I think you have to know that the squeaky wheel sometimes is important.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to just follow your intuition and integrity and just ask for what you think should be done. And that's kind of my ethos. I try to cooperate, and I try to be involved. I enjoy being involved. But also there's a line at which I feel that things should be done, and then I pursue that, and sometimes I have to pursue that alone.
How would you change things, or how would you add to the art scene in Bath?
Well,
if you had the power and, I suppose, the money to do that.
Well, that's the thing. That's the quotient that's missing, the money. Well, I think, I have a couple of ideas running around in my head. I'd love to see public sculpture in Bath. It could be possible. One of my friends, Megan Piper, was one of the founders of The Line. And that's a series of sculptures all the way from Greenwich into the city, into London.
Okay.
And that would be possible along the Avon. I don't know. I think it would be a tourist attraction. I think I'd like to see not only public sculpture, but maybe public festival of art. We have a literary festival. We have a music festival. In London, they do a walk around with all the galleries. There could be a map. There isn't a map of all the galleries and where they're located. Linking them all together.
Yeah.
We could have a weekend when we were all open. It would be lovely to see a collaboration with the art community in Bath to get together and focus again on increasing the profile for the tourists and the public that this is a place you can also come along and see contemporary art.
You've got a pretty energetic online presence. How are you developing that?
Well, I'm going to be developing that in several ways. I think this is kind of just launching it now. It's really in the infant stage. I'm going to create a Women in Arts Association here for the Southwest. I'm a member of Women in the Arts, founded by Gay Hudson in London many years ago. And I've asked her, and so I have an initial group of ladies that I'm going to get together, and we're going to try to do that. I'm going to try to link my connections about creating the line, or a line, here. I'm working with Megan, or talking to Megan, about how we could do that. I want to approach the council to see if I've got a great idea for vacant properties. There's one, Cadogan 14, I think they call it, in London. And so when even buildings that are being refurbished, you could have contemporary art in there and use it just on a temporary basis. So if we could have pop-up shows, and the council could give us, instead of having it vacant, give us the space to use for pop-up shows. There's kind of some of the ideas that, and then online, I'm going to be enhancing my online stable, if you will, and focusing on those artists to promote them and looking up for pop-up places to show them as well.
Do you ever have any downtime, Sandra?
I don't actually like downtime, to be perfectly honest. I'm one of those people that doesn't need much downtime. I like to travel. I mean, the gallery, honestly, has kept me kind of tied down here for the last year. I'm going to do more traveling. I may do some art and culture tours, which I've done in the past, and offer them through the gallery. So I have lots of projects, as you can see, and I'd like to get involved in them again. No, I don't need downtime. In fact, life is very short, and I think I like to live it to its fullest.
It's a pleasure to come and chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.